Welcome back to the Deep Dives. Today, we are going to step away from the usual business case studies and tech breakdowns to talk about something that is, frankly, much more complicated than any algorithm we've ever discussed.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about the chaotic, messy, and frankly terrifying early stages of the marriage journey. And I don't mean the fun part where you pick out the DJ or sample the cake.
Right. We are not talking about the Pinterest board phase. We are talking about the audit phase.
The audit phase, yes.
That incredibly awkward, high-stakes period where you're sitting across from a stranger, basically trying to figure out if they are your soulmate or, someone you need to block on every social media platform immediately.
Exactly. It's that universal experience dating as a high-stakes interview. We treat modern love like it's a procurement process. We have the clipboard, we have the checklist. Height, income, family background, political views. We want the bottom line before we've even ordered the appetizer.
It is efficient, sure, but it's also incredibly sterile. We are trying to audit a human being like they're a quarterly earnings report. And the problem is, human beings are messy. The best parts of us, they aren't on the resume.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. We have a fascinating story to unpack. It's a case study of two people, let's call them the Mumbai girl and the Pune boy, who met under what I would call the absolute worst circumstances imaginable. This isn't a meet cute.
No.
It's a disaster movie.
It really is. And our mission today is to use this disaster to analyze two opposing philosophies of relationships, what we're calling the bottom line approach versus the unfolding. And to do that, we have to look at why falling for someone's worst self might actually be the best way to find a partner.
The unfolding. I love that concept. But we have to set the stage first. Imagine you are this girl. You live in Mumbai, fast-paced, ambitious, cosmopolitan. You're getting on a train to the neighboring city of Pune.
Right.
But you aren't going there for a romantic getaway. You are traveling specifically to deliver a rejection.
Right. She's going into enemy territory. And this is crucial for understanding her psychology at the start of the story. She isn't neutral. She is suffering from what we call the Naysayer attitude.
Okay, let's unpack that. What is the Naysayer attitude?
Well, think about confirmation bias. That's the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of what you already believe.
Yeah.
She believes this arranged match is a bad idea. She believes Pune is a slow, annoying city. So she isn't looking for the truth. She is actively hunting for data points that prove she is right. She wants the red flags.
She wants to hate it. She wants to be able to go back to Mumbai and say, see, I told you it was a waste of time.
Precisely. She's looking for an exit strategy before she even arrives. She steps off that train, and she is already judging. The pace is too slow, the people are too laid back, she is armored up. But then the modern world deals her a blow that no amount of planning can fix. Her modern shield fails.
The nightmare scenario. Her phone battery dies. And I want to pause on this because I think we underestimate how much we rely on that little black rectangle. It's not just a tool for maps. It's emotional armor.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. When you're alone in a public place, an elevator, a waiting room, a train station, what is the first thing you do?
Look at your phone.
You look at your phone. Even if you have no notifications, it signals independence. It says, I am busy, I am connected, I don't need you. It protects us from the awkwardness of being vulnerable to strangers.
It's a buffer. It's a do not disturb sign hanging around our necks. And the moment that screen goes black, she is stripped of that protection. She's stranded in a city she's decided to hate, unable to call a cab, unable to call her mom to vent.
Yeah.
She is forced to do the one thing the bottom line approach tries to avoid: rely on a random human being.
And this is where the story shifts. She asks a stranger for help. Now, in a rom-com, this would be the moment the music swells and they lock eyes. But here, it's basically a geopolitical conflict.
It is hilarious. She asks for directions, and this stranger, who, spoiler alert for anyone not paying attention, becomes her guide for the day, gives her the most confusing local advice possible. He tells her to go to the lower side and then the upper side.
Which implies a verticality that doesn't exist. To her fast-paced Mumbai mind, this is just inefficiency. It's nonsense.
Right.
But to the Pune mindset, it's just geography.
And he doesn't apologize for it. He mocks her for rushing. He calls out her Mumbai speed.
This is the clash of stereotypes. You have the time is money culture versus the afternoon nap culture. They're using these city identities as shields. If I can categorize you as a rushed Mumbai car, I don't have to deal with you as a complex person. I can just judge the demographic.
It's a total defense mechanism. I don't need to know you. I just need to know your zip code. But then the defense cracks a little bit because of a misunderstanding. And this is where that confirmation bias we talk about really flares up.
Oh, yeah.
The guy drops a piece of paper. She picks it up, and she sees numbers written on it, 32, 24, 36.
And immediately her brain goes, haha, caught him.
She thinks they are women's measurements. She thinks he's a creep carrying around body stats.
Right, because she is looking for a villain. If he's a creep, she is justified in her hatred of the day. It fits her narrative, but he flips it on her. He reveals he's a fashion designer. Those are professional specs for a garment. And then he hits her with this stinging question. Are you a tailor?
Oh, that is such a good burn. Are you a tailor? Basically, why did you recognize those dimensions so quickly? He calls out her judgment.
And this introduces our next key concept, and I think this is one of the most important takeaways for our listeners. Conflict as chemistry.
Explain that. Because usually we think chemistry means getting along perfectly.
We do. We think compatibility means agreement. We want someone who nods and says, yes, dear, you're right. But this story argues that friction is actually a better indicator of compatibility. If he had just apologized and put the paper away, the interaction dies.
That's boring.
It's boring. But he challenges her. He pushes back.
It requires engagement. You have to actually be present to argue with someone.
Exactly. This friction proves they're intellectual equals, and nothing illustrates this better than the argument they have later over the house sign. This is my favorite part of the story.
The half-liter sign. They pass a house with a nameplate that just says half-liter, or in the local dialect, a liter.
It sounds like a carton of milk, not a residence.
Right. The girl finds it absurd. Why would you name a home that? It makes no sense. But the guy defends it with this concept of pune management. What is his logic there?
His logic is brutal efficiency. He explains that the owner is known by that nickname in the community. So if the letter reaches the right house because of the nickname, why write the full name?
So his argument is?
His argument is brevity is for the intelligent.
It's a debate between clarity and efficiency. She wants things proper and clear. He wants things smart and short.
But notice what is happening. They aren't talking about the weather. They aren't asking, what do you do for work? They are debating semantics, logic, and social norms. They are revealing how they think.
That is so true.
You learn more about a person in 5 minutes of arguing about a weird sign than you do in 5 hours of polite dinner conversation.
You see their edges. You see how they handle being challenged. But speaking of edges, things get a little sharper in the next segment. They stop for coffee. The boy's been driving her around in the heat, guiding her through this city she hates. She buys herself a coffee, but doesn't offer him even a glass of water.
Oof, that is a major violation of the social contract, especially in that culture.
It is, and he doesn't let it slide. He uses a very specific heavy word, kritagna.
Yes. It's a Sanskrit term that literally translates to destroyer of favors. It means ungrateful, but deeper. It means you have taken a kindness, his time, his guidance, and nullified it by not acknowledging it. You've destroyed the favor.
That is heavy. He is effectively calling her a bad person to her face. But she doesn't back down. She challenges the transactional nature of his complaint. She asks, is kindness real if it demands a thank you?
Which is a valid philosophical point.
Yeah.
If you only help someone to get praise, is it help or is it a trade? But just as she takes this moral high ground, the universe humbles her.
The transaction trap snaps shut. She goes to pay for the coffee, but she only has large 500 rupee notes. The shop doesn't have change. Digital payment is down. She is stuck.
The irony is delicious. She has just insulted the man for wanting a transaction of gratitude, and now she needs him for a financial transaction.
She has to borrow money from the destroyer of favors accuser.
And this shifts the power dynamic completely. Financial vulnerability is the great leveler. You hate owing money to a friend. Owing it to a stranger you're actively arguing with is torture.
She is proud. She refuses to just be in his debt. So she does something dramatic. She takes off her watch and gives it to him as collateral.
Let's unpack that symbol, the watch.
It's time. She is literally giving him her time. In a narrative sense, this creates a forced bond. They cannot just part ways now.
The transaction is incomplete.
Right. They are tethered together until that debt is settled. It forces them to extend the interaction beyond her desire to leave.
Keeps them in the ring. They are stuck with each other.
And as they move from the coffee shop to the marketplaces like Tulsi Bagh, the dynamic shifts again. They get into another argument, this time about buying a brass statue.
This is the price versus value debate. She wants to haggle. She wants the lowest price because that's a victory for her. It's the Mumbai deal mindset. He stops her. He argues for the dignity of the artisan. He says, don't insult the art by bargaining.
It really highlights their worldviews. She is pragmatic, maybe a bit cynical, focused on the cost. He is idealistic, valuing the human element over the efficiency. But strangely, despite all these fights, or maybe because of them, she starts opening up to him. Why?
It's the stranger on a train effect. Sociologists talk about this all the time. When you are with someone you think you will never see again, the stakes drop to zero.
No consequences.
There is no fear of judgment because there is no future.
You don't have to maintain an image. You don't have to be the perfect daughter or the successful professional.
Exactly. You can be radically honest. So she tells him about her ex, Arnav. She admits she was always the one compromising. She was the one making up after fights. She reveals her deep insecurity, that she is tired of being the bigger person.
And in return, the guide shares his story. And this is where the episode takes a turn into the poetic. He tells her about Sumichi.
His Japanese ex-girlfriend. He describes her with such incredible detail, her small eyes, her grace. And then he recites a poem.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the rain and the night queen fragrance. It is deep, vulnerable, romantic stuff.
It's the kind of poetry that makes you stop and listen. And for the Mumbai girl, who has been dealing with this prickly, annoying guy all day, it's a revelation. She sees this hidden depth. She realizes he isn't just a rude guide, he's a soul.
She falls for his soul in that moment, but here's the kicker. Sumichi isn't real.
She's a total fabrication. A prank.
But let's look at the psychology of why he does this. We call this a Trojan horse of romance.
A Trojan horse, like sneaking something in.
Yes. Think about it. If he looked at her and said, I am a deeply romantic guy who writes poetry, he risks direct rejection.
Right.
She might laugh, she might think he's trying too hard or hitting on her, but by packaging his real emotions inside a fake story about a Japanese girl, he creates a safe container.
So the story was a lie, but the poem was real.
Exactly. The emotion was authentic, the vehicle was fake. It allowed him to show her his heart without risking his ego. It allowed her to admire his depth without feeling like she was being courted.
That is 4D chess. And it works. She softens, she stops fighting him. And this leads to the sunset conversation, which I think is the core of our deep dive today. They start talking about the honeymoon phase.
This is where the guide lays out his philosophy. He critiques the bottom line approach we talked about at the beginning. He says we are obsessed with knowing the end result. Is the family wealthy? Do we match on paper?
We want the answers before the test starts.
But he champions the unfolding.
Yes.
He argues that the mystery is the point. He says the first year of marriage shouldn't be about confirming what you already know. It should be about discovering the things you don't. The quirks, the smells, the habits, the half-liter logic.
The unfolding.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful concept. It suggests that you can't rush intimacy. You have to let the person reveal themselves over time, layer by messy layer.
And I think in that moment, the Mumbai girl realizes she's been doing it all wrong. She's been chasing a checklist with Arnav and with this prospective groom. She's been looking for safety, but what she actually craves is the adventure of discovery.
She realizes that knowing someone on a resume is very different from knowing someone in reality. And that brings us to the climax of the train station. The day is over. The sun is set. She is ready to leave.
And technically, she has rejected the groom. She hasn't met him. She is going back to Mumbai to tell her parents, no, I didn't see him. I'm done. But she's heartbroken because she is leaving this guide, this annoying, charming, poetic stranger.
She realizes she has feelings for the guy she fought with over a door sign. She hands him his money back, gets her watch, and turns to leave. She's walking away.
And then the twist.
The guide stops her. And he reveals that he is the prospective groom. He is Rohit.
The gasp heard around the world.
He knew the whole time. He had her number. He was the one calling her phone while she was standing right next to him.
It changes the entire context of the day. But we have to ask the big question, the one that makes this a deep dive. Why did he do it? Why play the game? Why drive her around in the heat and let her insult his city and his name?
Well, think about the alternative. If they had met in the living room, with the parents watching, serving tea and samosas.
It would have been a performance. She would have been the polite bride-to-be, sitting with her ankles crossed, answering questions correctly. He would have been the eligible bachelor listing his credentials.
It would have been fake.
Yeah.
She would have said no based on the city, and he might have said no based on her resume or his superficial impression.
Exactly. By stripping away the formality, by enduring the heat, The dead phone battery, the hunger, the arguments. He saw the real her.
He saw the worst self.
Yes, he saw the girl who bargains aggressively in shops. He saw the girl who gets angry and judges signs. He saw the girl who is stingy with water and proud about money.
And he fell in love with that person. Not the curated Instagram profile, not the interview version of her.
And she fell in love with the unfiltered him. The guy who demands gratitude and writes poetry about fake ex-girlfriends. This is the lesson. Authenticity isn't found in a bio, it's found in the friction.
It's such a powerful takeaway. We spend so much time trying to hide our flaws in the early stages of dating. We want to be perfect. We want to be the cool girl or the successful guy. But these two fell in love because they saw the messy reality first.
The naysayer attitude she arrived with was just a defense mechanism. She was protecting her heart from another disappointment. But by losing her way, literally getting lost in Pune without a phone, she dropped that shield.
So what does this mean for you, the listener? If you're out there swiping or going on dates or even just navigating a relationship, how do you apply the unfolding?
It means we need to stop treating love like a resume check. The bottom line approach gives you safety. It ensures they have a job and good manners, but it doesn't give you magic.
You have to be willing to sit in the messiness.
Correct. Don't look for the person who checks every box instantly. Look for the person you can endure a dead battery with. Look for the person you can argue with about a half-liter sign and still want to have coffee with afterwards.
It's about resilience. Love isn't about everything going right. It is about how you handle it when everything goes wrong. Sometimes you have to lose your watch and your patience to find the person who is actually worth your time.
And maybe, just maybe, give that city or that person you've prejudged a second chance. The lower side might just surprise you.
Indeed. The naysayer might just need a little prankster energy to wake up. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We talked about conflict as chemistry.
Right. It forces us to ask ourselves a difficult question.
Are you looking for a partner or are you looking for a mirror?
Because if you want someone who just agrees with you, buy a mirror. It's cheaper, it's less complicated, and it never asks for water. But if you want a life, find someone who challenges you. Find someone who makes the unfolding exciting.
The mystery is the fuel. Don't burn it all up in the first meeting. Let the story happen.
Couldn't have said it better.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the chaotic, beautiful journey of the Mumbai girl and the Pune boy. It's a reminder that sometimes the wrong address leads to the right destination, and that the best stories often start with a no.
If you enjoyed this analysis and want to hear us unpack more stories about human connection, confusion, and clarity, make sure to follow along. We've got a lot more deep dives coming your way.
And we would love to hear your half-liter stories,
Yeah.
the weird misunderstandings that led to something great. Let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, and maybe let your phone battery die once in a while. You never know who you might meet. Thanks for listening.